which is this law firm, is aiding and abetting. And I know for a fact they saw the body cam footage and the evidence I submitted to the court, where these individuals conspired to try to get a crime of disorderly conduct. Now let's go back to the recording again. And I hope, well, I know that the judge isn't supposed to be looking at it or listening to my YouTube channel, but I know they are, or the clerk of the court. But I want you to understand something. If I was committing disorderly conduct, when these terrorists pulled up to Enterprise, why didn't they lock me up? If you say I was threatening people, why didn't you lock me up? If you saw one officer who was the professor at the University of Maryland, and he teaching constitutional law, he was taking the employee down to the district court to get a protected order against me recording on the sidewalk. I was still on the sidewalk when they arrested me. Only when I called this Russian a bitch, he wants to say, oh, that's disorderly conduct. The same way he did it in Langley Park. It's a pattern of these whores. Why? Because they got a terrorist running their organization they call the chief of police, which they should get rid of. And all this little peons. We need an honest law enforcement division, y'all, in America. And let me tell you guys who works for these, put these badges and the patches on y'all shoulder, y'all not immune to justice. And if you don't believe me, look what happened to them Germans. I was just following orders. And you see what they doing now? They searched them down, hunting them like animals. Sooner or later, the system's gonna get honest. And they're gonna come for you. And they're gonna lock you up. Make no mistake about it, because we are gonna get an honest group of individuals who follow the law as the law was written. Might not be in my lifetime, might not be in some of y'all lifetime, just like the Germans. Hey, but you're gonna be sorted out of violating people's supreme right. And that I was just following orders as a police officer, it's not gonna work. It didn't work for the Germans, and it ain't gonna work for you. So you can sit here and you can bullshit around. If I was you, I would go educate myself on the supreme law. And if your commanders don't know what the supreme law is, you might want to tell them, and then tell them, I'm not going to do that because that breaks the law. Just like this clown in the recording before this one, who went and grabbed an automatic weapon when the shit was cleared already. My man, if you would have shot somebody, I guarantee you, you would have been brought up on charges. I guarantee you. You might have thought you got away with it, just like the Prince George's County guy who killed the guy in handcuffs and all the rest of them. I guarantee you, you ain't heard the last of that. This shit gotta stop. It's gotta stop. But again, until we do things to start it, and I guarantee you, we got to put people in the office who works for the people. 2, we got to separate these attorneys and the courts of being wards of the court, where the attorney's office works for the people. With this attorney office, he should have told them, y'all fucked up. You fucked up. And now you got to pay the piper. And they wouldn't do it again the next time. Because they didn't do anything, now they're going to have another $160 million lawsuit filed against them for the same defendant bitch who arrested me in Langley Park for calling him a bitch. And I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see the same defense all over again. I filed a motion for a jury trial in that case, And they still took it before one judge talking about I'm not entitled to. Same scenario. Because nobody's holding these terrorists accountable with the real law. This is why they keep doing it. Until somebody comes up and says, you fucked up, you did something wrong, hey, and now you got to be held accountable for it. Because one thing about me, I'm going to keep recording, and I'll probably keep getting locked up for disorderly conduct until I become before a real honest person who knows the law. And then we'll make change. But until then, I will keep coming before these corrupt terrorists who aid and abet with these criminals to bring them out to you to show you. And ladies and gentlemen, go read the law yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go read Title 18, Section, U.S. Code, Section 23315, and it explains to you how you become a domestic terrorist in America. Go read your amendments. Go read the 14th Amendment that clearly states no government agency or state can abridge what is written in black and white by your forefathers, the white forefathers, which are the supreme laws of this country, y'all. Go read them. And you will realize what I'm saying is true. I'm not going on none of this made up shit that they try to perpetrate on somebody. Oh, just like the public defender say, Your Honor, he can only get 60 days. He's not entitled to a jury trial. Where does that say that? In the supreme law? Nowhere. Where does their forefathers state that? And matter of fact, they even stated in all criminal matters, a citizen is entitled to a jury trials of their peers if they choose to. It didn't say 60 days. If it's 1 day in a criminal matter, a person is entitled to a jury trial. But they have waged war on the supreme law of this country, and they have become domestic terrorists. Just like the Second Amendment, trying to say you need a car or you need to be licensed to carry a firearm. The Second Amendment doesn't say that at all. And the 14th Amendment backs that up. And if you go against it, and all these little fake ass rules and laws, whoever wrote them and voted on them are domestic terrorists to the nation of the United States and the people of the United States. That's the same thing I was telling somebody else about the District of Columbia. They are extorting money from the citizens of the District of Columbia. The supreme law says you are only supposed to pay federal and state taxes. That's another thing on the taxes. The taxes were only made for war times. But because rich people and corrupt individuals manipulated using smoke and mirrors, people are still paying taxes now, and there is no war. But getting back to the District of Columbia, D.C. gets a stipend from the federal government. So the government of the District of Columbia is extorting money from its own citizen. Go look it up. The supreme law says you are only supposed to pay state and federal taxes. The District of Columbia is a district. It's not a state. It's a federal park. That's why you can never make it a state under the laws, the real laws. And I'm talking real laws. I'm not talking about this made up shit that they perpetrate on free people, because we have allowed ourselves to move away from what is really going on in this country. But the thing about it is this new generation is starting to wake up and understand. They're taking a stand. Look at the universities. And they're trying to suppress your rights by using this security force they call the police. Look how many people are getting locked up for engaging in their free right. And if I was y'all, I would lawyer up and start filing lawsuits against the university, against the police department, and even against the federal government, because they know what they should know what the laws are, the real laws. And anybody who changes it has waged war on the supreme law of this country. You ain't got to listen to me. Educate yourself. Okay? Educate yourself. They are trying to take away your rights daily. And just like in the District of Columbia, they're trying to, just like in Philly, the 8th Amendment gives you a right to wear whatever you want to wear. And no government agency can tell you. Because of the crime rate, because their officers are hiding out, not doing their job, or the judicial system is not doing their job because they're corrupt and whatever, ninja masses are illegal. Get the fuck out of here. And now DC trying to do the same. I want one of them to lock me up so I can take it to federal court and make an example out of them. And if you don't believe me, there's a case about the Second Amendment in the District of Columbia where the young man won for having a firearm. Just what I told you. Go look up the case, Washington, D.C. versus on the Second Amendment, and you'll see it. I think it's Hayes or somebody like that, but you'll see it. This is what they don't want you to know because they feel that, one, people don't read anymore. That's why they want, if you go on some of this Google shit now, they have changed the laws and the rules. And this is why I say we got to educate us. Matter of fact, I'm appalled that they're taking books out of the library. I went to the library in Laurel, Maryland. And if you don't believe me, go to Laurel, Maryland. Went to look at the legal department of books in paperback. Ain't no such thing. Some of these they got at least, I'll give them 100 books about law and the legal thing in their library. This is what they want to do. Put it on social media so they can change it when they want to. This is why I order my books from Border, from all these different papers. I go buy my books, my legal books, so that I have it in black and white. Georgetown Journal. Go get it. Because they're trying to change it, ladies and gentlemen, to tweak it the way they want it to be tweaked. But you can't change what the white forefathers wrote in the supreme law of this country. People talking about Congress. No, they can't. The 14th Amendment makes it very clear. Another thing, they talk about the supreme law of this country. The supreme law of this country doesn't make laws. They talking about there was a law when they say what the word the lawyers love to use. It was made law by the Supreme. Those are decisions. They're not law. The supreme law of this country made it very clear how laws are made in this country, and courts don't make law. They explain the law to people. Law review. No, those are decision review. Come on. Let's get it right. Meaning and saying things is everything in the courts. Common sense. And again, I'm going back to my case, common sense. You saw the video. I was engaged in my First Amendment right. If taking pictures of somebody or telling somebody I'm gonna be back there every day is a threat, then all of us are in trouble. If calling somebody a bitch, then all of us, why ain't everybody getting locked up? Because it's not a crime, young ladies and gentlemen. It's not a crime, but they're trying to make it into a crime. They're trying to make it into a crime. Special groups are trying to make it into crimes and take away your supreme rights. They have waged war on our constitutional rights, ladies and gentlemen, and we got to put a stop to it. Y'all stay tuned. More to come.